Deuteronomy 19:5a. Va'asher yavo et re'ehu, vaya'ar lachtov etzim, v'nidcha yado bagarzen lichrot ha'etz, v'nashal habarzel min ha'etz, umatza et re'ehu va'met. So we just have half the verse today, but it's a substantial verse. So let's get going here. And which, or and who. Now this is coming off of verse 4 and becomes now a second hypothetical situation that is kind of resulting in this inadvertent death for the person who might flee to one of those refuge cities. So this would be this hypothetical guy and who. He enters. There's a call imperfect third masculine singular of the root bo. He enters with his friend in, there's bait preposition, in the thicket, ya'ar, in the thicket. Next we get our infinitive telling why he went into the thicket, to gather, and this is the call infinitive construct of the verbal root chatav with a lamed preposition there. This is literally to cut, but it would be something like cutting wood, and then Halot lists it along with eitzim here together as to gather firewood, or to gather wood, eitzim. Next we get a nifal perfect third feminine singular. Notice the a. Verbal root is nun dalet chet, and we know that this is a nifal because of the dagesh forte here in the dalet. This one nun, this initial nun, has assimilated into the dalet, and then the nun that we see here in the verbal form is the nun performative of the nifal. And so his hand, having been put to the axe with the axe, would be a literal way to think of it, but we could also think of it in terms of his hand wielding the axe. That sounds a little bit better, though I like having been put to the axe to capture that nifal, but there you go. Wielding the axe. Here's the purpose of why he's wielding the axe: to cut the wood. So there's a call infinitive construct again with a lamed preposition, to cut the wood. And then we begin the accidental part here. The barzel now is the iron, and this is serving as the subject. The iron becomes detached, call perfect third masculine singular. The iron here would be referring to the head of that axe. It comes detached from the wood, not the wood he's cutting, but the wood handle of the axe. And it finds that barzel again, so we get a perfect third masculine singular here as well. And it finds his friend, and he dies. The third masculine singular here is the friend who dies. So you get this hypothetical situation of a man who goes into the woods to cut wood. The axe comes apart, the iron part finds his friend, and his friend dies. And then we'll see in part B of this verse that this man can also flee to a refuge city.